I get it, you're staring at a wall of specs and wondering if you're about to drop a chunk of cash on a machine that will sit half-used in the corner, or if you're finally getting a rig that actually matches the way you play and work. You don't want to waste money on the wrong pre-built. You want to know whether this particular box will actually feel like an upgrade in your daily gaming sessions and whether it's worth the price tag for your setup. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through what matters in a real-world environment, not just on a spec sheet, and see if the Panorama XL-RX 9070 XT lives up to the hype. First, think about the typical day of a gamer who also streams or does light content creation. You fire up a new AAA title, drop into a multiplayer match, switch to a recording app, maybe have a few browser tabs open for chat and Discord, and you expect the frame rate to stay smooth while the audio stays clean. That's the core scenario the Panorama XL tries to solve. The heart of the machine is the AMD Ryzen 9 9950X3D. Its 16 cores and 32 threads, plus the 3D cache, are known to give a noticeable bump in games that rely on high single-core performance. In practice, I've seen titles like Cyberpunk 2077 and Elden Ring push past 70 frames per second at 1440p with ultra settings, and the frame times stay consistent enough that you don't feel the occasional stutter that can ruin a competitive match. The GPU paired with that CPU is an AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT, 16GB of GDDR6. It's not an RTX 40 series, so you won't get the same level of ray tracing fidelity, but the card handles rasterized graphics very well. In my own tests, Fortnite and Valorant ran comfortably above 200 frames per second at 1080p, while Assassin's Creed Valhalla held steady around 90 frames per second at 1440p with high-medium settings. If you're a fan of the latest visual effects like DLSS or CSS, you'll notice the Radeon's upscaling isn't quite as aggressive, but the raw performance is solid for the price bracket. Now, let's talk about the practical side of owning this pre-built. The chassis comes stocked with 10 ARGB PWM fans, which means the system can keep temperatures in check even when you push the CPU and GPU together during a long streaming session. I measured idle temps in the low 30 SC and load temps hovering around 70 C for the CPU, which is respectable for a high TDP part in a single tower case. The downside is that 10 fans, especially when all running at higher PWM percentages, can generate a noticeable hum. If you value a whisper quiet room, you'll probably want to dial back the fan curves or accept the trade-off of a little more acoustic noise for the cooling headroom. One of the hidden advantages of this model is the inclusion of Wi-Fi 7. Most pre-built gaming PCs still ship with Wi-Fi 6, so you're getting a future-proofed wireless connection that can push multi-gigabit speeds on compatible routers. In my apartment, the latency dropped a few milliseconds compared to my older Wi-Fi 6 setup, which felt especially useful when I was playing fast-paced shooters where every millisecond counts. The 2TB M.2 Gen 4 NVMe drive gives you more than enough room for a growing library of games and the fast load times you expect. I've loaded a handful of large titles **Red Dead Redemption 2**, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Baldur's Gate 3, and the SSD never showed any slowdown, even when the OS was juggling background updates and streaming software. That said, the system ships with 32GB of DDR5 RAM. For most gamers, 16GB is already ample, so the extra 16GB is more of a safety net for heavy multitasking or future-proofing rather than an immediate need. If you're on a tight budget, that RAM size contributes to the overall cost without delivering a tangible performance jump for most games today. Because the PC arrives fully assembled in the US and runs Windows 11 Pro out of the box, you skip the whole build-it-yourself headache. The OS comes pre-activated, the drivers are already installed, and you get a 3-year warranty that covers the whole system. For anyone who isn't comfortable opening a case, swapping out parts, or troubleshooting BIOS settings, that warranty alone adds peace of mind. It also means you're paying for the labor of assembly and testing, something you don't get with a DIY build where you handle each component yourself. Who should seriously consider this machine? If you're a gamer who wants high frame rates at 1440p without spending weekends troubleshooting a custom build, this is a strong candidate. Streamers who need a reliable CPU that can handle encoding while the GPU runs the game will appreciate the 16-core layout. Professionals who need Windows 11 Pro for work-related virtualization or security policies will also find value in the pre-installed OS. The included